I love a good pun, I love some good tea, and my cakes are always quality. So today I'm going to show you how to make Koala Tea Cakes. This is a multi-day process, so be sure to plan ahead if you're making them for a specific event. Let's get into it. For this recipe, you will need, to make the tea cake itself, 2 cups all-purpose flour, 3 1/2 teaspoons baking powder, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 1/2 cups of white sugar, 1/2 cup of shortening, 3 eggs, 1/4 cup milk, 4 tea bags of your favorite tea. Dark teas worked best. I used Constant Comment this time. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. To make your basic vanilla buttercream, check out my other video that I'm going to have linked in the description below. And for decoration, you're going to need white, black, and gray fondant. As far as equipment goes, you are going to need a cupcake baking pan, a teapot or a kettle, a spatula, a fondant roller, a round cookie or fondant cutter. I prefer a wine glass personally. And then various piping tips and fondant cutters. Exact sizes aren't necessary, and it's perfectly fine to wing it. And you're going to also want a brush for making what I call fondant glue. I prefer a silicone basting brush over a pastry brush, as it's easier to clean and prevents color bleeding in the fondant. Anyway, let's get cooking. First things first, we need to make koala faces, cup bottoms, cup tops, and mug handles. We'll do this a whole day before even baking the cupcakes. You'll make the heads and ears out of gray fondant, mix black and white if you don't have gray. The insides of the ears with white, and eyes, smile, and that characteristic round triangle nose out of black fondant. Let all the pieces dry out and harden before assembling. Put them together by painting a little water on the backs of the smaller pieces like glue. For the mug bottoms and tops, it's the same process but with different colors. We're making white mugs today, so we'll use white for the bottoms, and since we're doing a black tea, we'll mix some more white into the gray fondant, but not thoroughly. We want some swirls and striations to make it look more like a liquid. But for both, roll the fondant out flat and cut a circle that is slightly larger than the top of a cupcake mold in your baking pan. You want the cupcake and some icing to fit inside the cylinder we're making. For the mug handles, make white strips of fondant and hang them over a spoon, spatula, or other form to dry into a handle shape. That's it for day 1. Day 2, we're going to bake our cupcakes and make icing, and then we're going to do some basic construction. Today, we're not just making any cupcakes, we're making tea cake cupcakes. And I came up with this recipe as a play on words with tea cake, which is really a type of cookie. But I used that inspiration to develop a recipe that has actual tea in it. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Making the tea cake is simple enough, but you'll start with steeping 4 bags of tea into about 1.5 cups of hot water. Now, I know that typically for optimal tea taste for drinking, you steep for a specific amount of time for different types of teas. This isn't tea for drinking. We're baking today, and we want to make sure that flavor comes through into every bite. You'll need to steep the tea until it turns cold. It should be the strongest tea you've ever made in your life. If you do that, this cake will taste amazing. You need to make 3/4 cups of super strong tea. You start with more water because the hot water will evaporate. There will be a little left over, but that's better than having to make more. And then you're going to mix together the flour, baking powder, and salt and set it aside. In your stand mixer, or just a separate bowl if you're using an electric hand mixer, cream together the sugar and shortening until it is light and fluffy. Add in the eggs one at a time, beating with each addition. Mix in the milk, then alternate flour mixture and tea. Once all is mixed, add in the vanilla extract. Bake at 350 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. You'll know they're done when a toothpick comes out clean. Chill the cupcakes for about 20 to 30 minutes at room temperature, then pop them in the freezer until you're ready to start turning them into mugs of koala tea. While the cupcakes are chilling, make your buttercream. Step 5 million. Just kidding, but I'm sure it seems like it by this point. Start building! You're going to take 2 cupcakes, 1 mug bottom, and 1 mug top. Icing these is tricky since we're not using any icing to glue them down to a plate. Start by putting some icing on one side of a mug bottom and placing a cupcake right side up on it. To get the appropriate height, we'll not be leveling these cakes. Instead, pipe a generous amount of icing around the circumference of the top of the cupcake. Take the second cupcake and place it upside down on top, and gently push down so that the icing distributes evenly and the top, bottom, top of the cake remains level. Then attach a mug top with a small amount of icing, set aside. Do this to all the mug tops and bottoms. Now it's time to make the mug sides. You're going to roll out white fondant and do some math-ish measurements. You'll need the circumference or distance around the cylinder, as well as the height of the mug. I used some plastic crafting cord, washed using dish soap first, to trace these amounts. Then use these measurements to make a rectangle for each mug. You actually want the rectangles to have a little more height than the mug, but not much. Now you'll line up the mug bottom to alongside of the mug side rectangle and roll it up, making sure that the mug bottom stays flush so that it's able to stand on its own. What you'll do with the lip that extends past the mug top is fold it inwards and mold it to make it look like the top of a mug. Mugs aren't typically filled to the brim, and this step gives it some more realism. Also, since these are handmade, giving the extra illusion of thickness makes them look like handmade pottery, which helps even more to bring the realness. Now it really needs to dry. I recommend leaving them overnight for the fondant to cure. The sides of these cakes will have a lot of weight to hold, so they need to be as structurally sound as possible. It's day 3. We need to add the faces and the handles and turn these mug cylinders into Koala Tea Cakes. But this is the easy part. Brush water onto the parts of the mug handles that will touch the mug and attach the handles. Then use water again on the backs of the koala faces to attach those as well. You can also use some buttercream for the koala faces if you have any left over, but it's not necessary. Let them dry and then they're ready to go. You've made some quality Koala Tea Cakes, mug cakes, cupcakes. That's for sure. If you like this recipe and want to see more like it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and click subscribe. Y'all know it's free. I also have some other free recipes and other videos right here or over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.